like, okay,
Quite possibly.
Neil's a heavy metal guy now, dudes. You know? So rather than go through all of that bullshit with all of the critics and everybody writing about it and saying that I'm just, you know, now I'm off on this trip or that, I decided to not let them do that this time and just have this one just be for the people who want to listen to it.
Do you find yourself pulling back from that? I mean, if the critics suddenly get together and say, wow, he is a heavy metal guy, do you find yourself just sort of naturally pulling back and running off to do a country album or something?
There's something like that going on inside me, I know that, but I feel like I'd like to do another Crazy Horse album, because this one was so great and so much fun to do. And it was, believe me, it was as much fun to make as it is to listen to, and I really feel good about the record, you know, because things worked out, you know. It was like we opened the door and it came in, you know, it was there. You open the door a lot of times and there's nothing there but the outside.
Yeah.
You know.
Does the title Ragged Glory refer to sort of the vivacity of the music, or is it a comment on the state of the country also?
What it was is we were listening to Mansion on the Hill. This is after we recorded Mansion on the Hill the first couple of days. We tracked for a couple of weeks. First couple of days we recorded that somewhere, either the second or third day, and then we kept trying to do it and thought, wow, this is a neat song, it should be great, you know, really make a great record, you know, so let's play it again and see if we can do it, you know. So we'd do it every day, you know, once in the day and then once at night, and we'd remember those versions and how they were, and it's just we never could remember doing a good one. And then we started listening back to all of this stuff. And we found this one take of Mansion on the Hill, and I went, that's it, it sounds great. We made a lot of mistakes, but, you know, it's still cool, you know. We were trying to do a really cool version, which doesn't work, you know. We did it right. It has a mistake in it that a musician could figure out, you know, that actually it sounds like Billy hits the wrong note, but it's me. Billy hits the right note, but anyway.
Seventh or something.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, yeah. We all play a different chord at once together. And David Briggs, who's producing, says, well, let's hear it, you know, and it's Ragged Glory then if it's all screwed up, Neil, you know. And I said, you know, that's it. That's what we're going to call it.
An apt and fitting title.
Yeah. So it was David's idea, you know. I just, as usual, I was just in the right place at the right time to pick up somebody else's good idea there.
Decade 2, you're reportedly putting together Decade 2, 7 CDs of everything, I guess, right? What's it going to be?
Well, it's not really, I'm not really sure. It's not really going to be a Decade 2 kind of thing. I'm working on an archives of my work from the beginning till whenever we get to. And I've got more unreleased material than I have released material. So,
really,
you know, like in the list of 400 or 500 selections of performances of songs, there's more unreleased stuff than there is released, and there's just really a lot of things, and videos. There's going to be a video package too that starts back in '66 and comes all through all of the years, and not just TV things and stuff, but some really rare stuff. I did a lot of shooting of concerts and stuff like it. It's a performance thing. Yeah. Completely performance.
Does it also have like Buffalo Springfield material?
It has Buffalo Springfield, unreleased Buffalo Springfield video, and audio.
Jeez.
Stuff.
How do you look back on Buffalo Springfield now? I mean, especially since you've been rooting around in the archives and listening to this stuff anew.
Well, I think that Buffalo Springfield was truly, really something else when they were happening, but they didn't get produced right. Yeah. We never really had a great producer, you know, and we were doing it ourselves because our first experience was a little rough, and our first record really, I mean, we sounded really good live. And the records, I mean, if we'd have sounded as good as the Rolling Stones on our records, it would have been a whole different thing. Because they had tone and punch, and, you know, our records sounded like real thin and wimpy sounding compared to some records.
Yeah. I mean, definitely had their moments.
No, the music was great, but the band was so much better than the records.
Yeah.
It was kind of scary and too bad. But the band really was only together for 18 months, you see, so perspective on it all. It plays such an important part of everything, but, you know.
state of your relationship with Stephen these days? You're getting on
good.
and having a good
It's
time?
fine. They're fine. They're on the road. You know, I haven't seen them in a long time.
Are you going to work together with them at any time in the future?
I don't foresee working with Crosby, Stills, and Nash at this time. I don't think it's a possibility.
How come?
Well, it's just not the right time. I'm doing this thing with Crazy Horse.
Well, not right this moment, but I mean, at some point in the future, might you ever entertain the idea of getting back together with them?
Geez, I don't know. Yeah, you know, I've learned one thing. You know, you don't want to close the door on anything, okay? I close the door on everything. And every time I do something new, I'd say, this is it. I'm not doing anything else anymore. Everything I did before this is... And everything I'm going to do after it is just this matters, you know? You know, and then I was wrong, you know. 6 months later, I'm going, well, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't know what the hell that was. You know, so, you know, I'm not going to say I'm never going to play with him again. That'd be stupid. I've learned too much.
Getting back to the stuff you're going through in your warehouse here, when you look back at the stuff, what do you see as your best albums now? I mean, is it the stuff you would have said maybe 10 years ago? These are my greatest records. And
boy, I still can't tell. I still can't tell. I think Everybody's Rockin' is one of my best records.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that,
why so?
that it's real hard for people to think that I'm, you know, for a lot of my listeners to accept the fact that you know, like, I could act and sing and act and do and be a character and do that, you know, and have a soul doing that. But you know, I don't know what it is. That record and Tonight's the Night are two of my favorites, and they're very similar as far as I'm concerned, except one is extremely light and the other is extremely heavy.
Well, but apart from those, yes, being extremely, but they're totally different, aren't
they? But they're not really that different. They're two characters. They're two different characters. One guy is a drugged out, kind of semi-alcoholic rocker, you know, gone awry at his friend's wake.
No.
Okay, and this other one is like this rock and roll guy who's just, you know, kind of like a country bumpkin rock and roll guy who's made it big, but it's the wrong time.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know how I justify all these ridiculous things, you know, these characters and everything. But for a long time, for me, it was an escape, you know, to just jump into a character and be that character for as long as I could ride it and then just jump off, you know.
And talking about Tonight's the Night, I wonder if, looking back on that period, do you think the whole drug thing in the 60s was a mistake and the sort of zealotry about, you know, it's good to, you know, take
No, I don't think it was a mistake at all. I think it was part of the deal.
Yeah.
It was part of our deal. That's what we were dealt. That was our time and space. That was our time. And we experimented with drugs because, you know, I don't know why, it just was happening. Everybody was doing it. We experimented. I never took acid myself.
Really?
Although, you know, like a doctor once told me, and I was in the hospital being checked out because I'd passed out and had a convulsion at one point.
Yeah.
He asked me, he said, have you ever taken any hallucinogenic drugs? And I said, no. You know, never taken any acid, if that's what you mean. and he said, well, don't ever do it. You'll never come back. You know, this guy at UCLA, they did all these tests, and that's what they came up with. They put me in a pneumoencephalogram. I don't know if you ever heard what that is, but they put you in this machine and they turn you kind of upside down, like, and you got like, they take they put these things in your back and they put air and radioactive dye in you, and then they turn you upside down and the dye all rises to your feet or something. I don't know. And it really is painful. I mean, primal scream time, okay? I'm not kidding. I've never been so terrified. I was screaming, you know, for the last scream, you know, the big scream. I'm going out of my mind. And they're doing this test on me, and, you know, for a week and a half after that, every time I move my head, you know, little air bubbles in my head, you know. And at the end of all of those tests, he said, don't ever take acid. Don't do it. But you'll never come back.
But you can do this upside down thing as much as you want, I suppose.
Yeah, that's okay. What a deal.
Did you ever find out?
So it has been a long, hard road.